Hey everyone, this is Shannon with Thermaltake, and today we're taking a look at the Core V41. Now this is a mid-tower Core Series chassis, so therefore we offer it with a lot of liquid cooling fitment options, along with a lot of modularity. Now let's dig in and see exactly what the new V41 has to offer. Okay, now once we unbox the V41, the first thing we want to look at is the accessories that come included. So starting off with all the mounting hardware, we have the motherboard mounting screws, various drive mounting screws, fan mounting screws, all that good stuff, including extra standoffs. So let's go ahead and move these out of the way here. Then we have your 5 various just black zip ties. We have your 3.5 to 5.25 inch front bay adapter, allows for card readers or the devices. We have your post beep indicator, which in case your motherboard doesn't have one, we have you covered. We have your 5.25 to 3.5 inch drive bay adapter, along with optional fan mount. Then we have a very interesting one, kind of like what happened to the V71. We wanted to have the option to rear mount drives in case you decide to remove all the modular drive trays. Now you can see this has a 3.25 inch, or flip it up, and it's got dual 2.5s. So let's go ahead and we're going to set these aside. We're going to take a look in the case, and we will show you shortly how you fit those into the case along with some of the other special features. Now starting off with the base chassis of the Core V41, you can see the front, we have our I/O area, starting with your microphone, your headset, your reset button, your hard drive LED, your power button with the blue power halo light indicator which goes around it. You have your USB 3.0 dual ports, and then we have your dual 5.25 in the front, which are actually close together, they're attached, so that you don't have to worry about fitting larger bay reservoirs in this area. It all should fit without issue. Now we're going to pull the front panel off next and take a look at what kind of cooling options we have pre-installed. Okay, now that the front's removed, you can see it has standard peg mounting clips, so it's actually really easy to install and remove. It makes cleaning this integrated filter and mesh system very easily. It can be blown out or washed out very easily. Now, once we move past that, you can see that the front will support all the way up to a 360mm radiator, or even up to a 280mm if you're going 140mm based. It comes pre-installed with a single 120mm fan. However, as you can see, it's got slotted holes, so you can fit pretty much any fan or radiator design you really want up to a 360 or 280. And also, you can see the 5.25s are easily removable just like previously. This allows you, once again, the scalability or the compatibility and flexibility to fit pretty much any cooling solution you desire within the still mid-tower chassis. Now we're going to take a look at the top and the fitment up there. Okay, now at the top you can see, much like the V51 before, we have the magnetic fan filter, so you can lift this away and clean it out and do whatever you need to do. But the real important part is once you get up here to the mesh. Once again, slotted mounting holes along the whole front to back, which allows up to a 280 if you're going 140 based, or a 360, which is 3x120mm radiator to basically occupy the whole top here. Now this allows for an extreme amount of cooling, especially for a mid-tower chassis. Now we're going to take a look at the back and what exactly the I/O and expansion area offers. Now looking at the back of the V41, you can see, first of all, we're going to start at the top, and we actually have a grilled area here. This allows for air to escape, so you don't get any huge dead spots of hot air. If you get any warm air up here, it's allowed to just vent out freely with the airflow of the chassis. You have 120mm fixed fan port here, which comes pre-installed, a 120mm turbofan from Thermaltake. Then you have 2 large LCS holes along with a smaller one, so that if you have an external liquid cooling solution, it's ready to go. You have your I/O cutout. You have 8 expansion bays, along with an extra vertical bay here for maybe your eSATA pass-throughs or even fan controls or what have you, whatever maybe can fit in this area that will fit your needs. And then you have your large PSU cutout here, which also has filtration at the bottom for your power supply. So now we're going to get to the fun part. We're going to dig inside and see what we have for special features inside that part. Okay, now on this side you can see we have a very large open window. Allows you to show off your showcase, your showpiece build. You're ready to roll with this thing. So we go ahead, we pull this off here, and first things first, you can see we have a bundle of connections, which I previously untied so it's easier to show you. We have an HD audio connection. Your front panel motherboard connectors is power, reset, hard drive LED, and your power LED. and your internal 20 pin for your USB 3. So these are all pretty important, something you're definitely going to want to pay attention to. You have your rear fan connector 3 pin, and then you have all your modular drive racks here along with your dual 5 1/4. All of these drive racks can actually be completely removed to fit liquid cooling here, including your 5 1/4. So this whole front can be occupied by a radiator, large tube cylinder reservoirs, pumps, what have you. Pretty much anything you can imagine you can build inside this chassis, or you can build it up with a bunch of hard drives if you needed a bunch of storage, maybe a server, or what have you. But either way, we've got you covered whichever way you decide to build it. Now we're going to flip around to the back, take a look at the cable management area and those reverse drive mounting options we were talking about. Okay, now on the rear side of the chassis, here's our rear panel, and one very important part we want to show is it has a very large dip in the panel. It actually has a punch out so that you can fit really large amounts of cables, whether you're talking big bundles of cables or maybe you have uni-sleeved like a 24 pin, which once you have individually sleeved wires, they can get really thick. We want to make sure you had plenty of room to work with back here because there's actually a pretty deep recess already with the motherboard tray, but we still want to give as much room as possible. That's why we also have the large cutout next to the CPU area so that everything's able to stay tidy and get tucked away where it's not needed. And then we also have these loops here which allow zip tying down cables to the back of the motherboard tray. Keeps it kind of tidy, keeps it neat in case someone is to see it, or just to make putting the panel on easier. Then you have your large CPU cutout. This allows for pretty much any size cooler and backplate to be installed without issue. And your EPS 8 pin can pass right through this large cutout here. We actually oversize this just to make sure that you don't run into that headache when you're putting in the last cables of your system and realize how hard it is to shove through there. This is a massive opening to make sure that you won't have any problems to get it together. Okay, now to the alternative drive mounting. Now let's say you rip all your drive bays out of here. You decide, you know what, I'm not going to use those. I'm going to build a massive liquid cooling system in there. So they're screwed directly through the back here. So what you're going to do is you're going to take those out, remove the drive bays. Now this is where that bracket I showed you earlier, you can slide it into place, screw it down, and now you can either mount a 3.5 inch drive here or dual 2.5s. You basically open this guy up and they can mount directly there. And then you can mount another one right below it. So you can actually mount up to 4 SSDs, 2 large mechanical hard drives, what have you, without having anything show up front. Very similar to what you saw in the other Core Series chassis. And thanks a lot for joining us here on the Core V41 overview. Now if you'd like to discuss this product or any others, please join us on our social media channels or our TT community forums, which you can find the links to right down in the description. And thanks for watching.